In today's class, my dear students, we are going to discuss the chapter that is titled Pricing. No doubt, pricing is a very important factor which you need to understand. Of course, whatever we are going to sell into the market, we are not only interested to calculate the cost of the product, but of course, we have to market our product in a way that we can charge the price which is competitive into the market and which can maximize our profit. So we are actually using the different strategies to price our product in a market. Let me first discuss the theoretical aspect of the pricing, and then I'm going to discuss the accounting aspect of also of the pricing. It depends on the market. If the market is perfect market, by perfect market we means where there are the large number of buyers and sellers for the product. In that case, my dear, the prices are decided about by the market force. Market force, I mean the demand and supply of the product. If the demand is greater than the supply of a product, it will pull up the prices upward. But if the supply is more and the demand is less, means that if there is excess supply in the market, so it is going to push the prices downward. You can see in the COVID-19 when the demand for the mask and many other such kind of things, the demand was very high. The supply in beginning was short, so the prices was pulling up. With the passage of time, we found that there were a lot of competitors, a lot of suppliers coming to the market, and the more the excess demand gap was reduced, the prices was going down. So market force mean the demand and supply forces. Normally, we used to study in economics when the demand is equal to the supply of the product, the prices stop there. That price is called equilibrium prices. So neither buyer are the price taker or neither seller is the price taker, but we get this price from the market forces. Okay, the market is imperfect. For example, one of the example of the imperfect market is the monopoly. By monopoly, we means that when there is a single seller of the product in a market, so in such case, of course, the seller actually dominate the market and seller decide about the market prices. Um, Normally, the seller then charge high price because he is enjoying the monopoly. In UAE market, you can see that, for example, those people who are living in Dubai, uh, if they see the metro facility is only provided by a single company, so there is no any competition with them. Similarly, the electricity, the water supply, no, they don't have any competitors in this product. Even there was a time when Etisalat was also the enjoying the monopoly, but today they have the competition. Like Do is in competition with the Etisalat, but there was a time when the only telecommunication available in UAE was the Etisalat. So we have different example of the monopoly. If the market is again one of the example of the market imperfect market is the oligopoly. Oligopoly is a kind of market, sorry, where few we have the competitors, but most of the market is captured by the few companies. For example, if I take example of my country in Pakistan, if I for example, if I take the example of the mobile phones, so Samsung and iPhone, most of the market is captured by these two product. Although there is the competition, Oppo, etc., many other mobile phones are available, but large market is captured by the Samsung and iPhone. So one of the example of the UK, there are four companies, Tesco, and the others. They have actually share 74.4% of the grocery market. So there are competition, but most of the market is captured by the few firms. This kind of the market is called oligopoly. Now, in such market, then the price deciders are the these few companies. Okay, there is another example of the imperfect market, which we call monopolistic competition. Here, of course, the products are same, they are similar, not identical. Like if I can give you the example of the soaps, mostly you can find the different soap into the market, the large number of the soap in the market. But if you see, the brands are different. The people are here paying for the brand also. Okay, so many products, many consumers in each market, but no business has total control over the market price. Okay, these are the my dear different pricing strategies. Mm, First one is the cost plus pricing. I will solve a question on this strategy. The simple theory about the cost plus pricing is that we first calculate the cost of the product and then add the desirable profit to the product. Okay. For example, if the cost of the product is, let's suppose, 100, and profit my desirable profit is, let's suppose, 20%. I want to earn 20% in this product. So what should be the price of the product? The price of the product will be 101.2, means that 20% is added to the cost of the product. So the price is 20. This is called, my dear, the cost plus pricing. First calculate the cost and then you add the desirable profit to that. Okay. We like in my country, normally we used to target 15% profit in the medicine. For example, if medicine is, let's suppose, the price of the medicine is 200, so 15% of the 200, it is 230. 230 is the price. If this could be one of the strategy used by the different company, that you first calculate the cost of the product. Now here you actually focus more. If you want to compete into the market, you have to work out onto the cost of the product. The more you reduce the cost of the product, the more low will be the selling price into the market, and it will be easier for you to compete into the market. Now the second is the market skimming. Market skimming is actually and this is the pricing strategy. When in beginning you launch a product, let me give you the example of the iPhone 16. It was launched previous year. So in the beginning, when we launch such kind of the product, we charge high price in the beginning to maximize our short-term profitability. My dear, initially we charge the high price, but once market becomes saturated, then we reduce the prices in the future of the same product. But these are the kind of the strategy we use when the products have a short life cycle. As I gave you the example of the iPhone 16, so we have a 1 year time period. We can charge the high maximum price, even less than 1 year, because then the next year, if it is replaced by the new model, we cannot then take the same price for the iPhone 16 after 1 year, because once the new model is into the market, now the people will not pay us the same amount. So we reduce the prices after the short time period. The product life cycle is actually short, so we are supposed to earn quickly in the beginning. We charge high price in the beginning. Second one was the penetration pricing. This is a kind of the strategy is opposite to the market scheming. Here actually the target is to penetrate into the market. We charge low prices. First we charge the low prices to get a penetration into the market. Once we increase our market share, we are now connected with the customer. The customers are now willing to buy our product. Then after some time, the time we increase the prices. So In beginning, we do not earn too much. We hardly earn a very small portion of the we hard earns very small portion of the cost. But once the market is captured, then we can charge the high prices. Now this is called a penetration pricing strategy. And the third one is the complementary product pricing. Some of the products, my dear, in the market, which are dependent on the other small products. Like for example, if I give you the example of the mobile phones and the chargers. Now, similarly, you can see here the example of the printers and printers cartridges. So these are the complementary products. Now, what we do, sometimes we actually charge low prices into the printer, but we then charge high prices into the cartridge because it is complementary product. The printer is nothing if you don't have the cartridge. So in some time we attract the people by charging low prices of the printer, but then we can earn from the another complementary product also. Product line pricing strategy. This is the case where, my dear, we have the uh, a big product line. Like for example, if you can see in the soft drinks, we have Coca-Cola. In Coca-Cola, we have the regular Coke, we have the Diet Coke, we have the Energy Coke. No, this kind of the strategy we use when we have a big product line of the products. The product is almost same, but they may vary because of the style, the color. Here you can see the taste. Volume discounting pricing strategy. This is also one of the pricing strategy. We use it when someone want to buy a product from us in bulk. Now, if someone want to buy a products in a bulk, then we have to give them the discount. This is called a volume discounting pricing strategy. We give the quantity discount for customers. Okay. Price discrimination strategy. Okay. This is, my dear, a kind of the strategy when we sell out same product on different prices in different market. We have many examples. You can see that the let's suppose the cup of tea. Even if you see the cup of tea, when we are selling a cup of tea in a normal market, it price is different. But the same cup of tea, if we are going to sell out in it somewhere on the picnic area, the picnic spots, we charge the high price. We discriminate here because the people when come out to the tourism or they come out to the picnic, they are willing to they are willing to spend amount. Similarly, you can see in the schools and colleges when we have um, some farewell programs or some competition. So we used to charge high prices of the same product. And now let's come to the um, accounting, or the I should say that other than the market pricing approach. First approach, my dear, we use for the pricing is the demand based approach. I have already discussed the market based. Cost based approach, as I discussed, that cost plus profit margin. Now we are going to focus on the demand based approach. And I can help you in understanding this concept while doing this question by solving it numerically. We have studied this in economics. A very basic idea about the demand is that if you are charging high price, the quantity demand will be low for your product. And if you reduce the prices, the people are willing to buy more. Now you can see that the relationship between price and quantity demand is negative. That's why the slope, you can see the slope, it also suggests to. For example, I'm charging this much price, the demand is this much. But if I reduce the price, the demand increase. So there is an inverse relationship between the price and quantity demand. Like even I make one table for you people. You can see that when I'm charging price 50, the quantity demand for the product is zero. Nobody will want to buy this product on this price. As I'm reducing the prices, Demand is increasing. People are willing to buy more. People are still willing to buy more. Now, if I don't charge anything, people are demanding 600. Of course, in a reality, people may be willing to buy more than 600. It shows the maximum capacity of my production, that I can produce only 600. So if I can produce only 600 product into the market, if I charge nothing, I can sold out all 600. So these are the extreme cases. If the price is 50, nobody is going to buy. People want to buy maximum if I charge nothing. So how we can present it into the graph? Let me draw a graph. Insert here to make it more visible. I think this one is good. Let me give the title, the demand graph. On x-axis, we have quantity demand. On y-axis, we have price of the product. You can see that there's a negative relationship between the price and quantity demand. On 50, the demand is 0. This is the maximum price. Nobody is willing to pay. Nobody will buy. When I reduce the price to 45, now the demand increased to the 100. When I reduce the price from 50 to 40, the demand is 200. So as I'm reducing the prices, demand is going down. This one is the this one and this one are the extreme level. This is the level of price where people will buy nothing, and this is the demand on which the supplier will not never be there willing to sold out on this price because it's zero. Now, my dear, the demand equation is like P means price is equal to A minus BQ. This B actually show the slope, the change. This actually show the change, that how much change in price in relation to how much change in quantity demand. So it show the slope here. Now P price is the quantity demand, is the slope. A is actually the maximum price which a seller may be willing to charge, but there will be no demand. So this is the A. We will actually going to learn how to calculate this A, B is the slope, and Q and P, etc. Let me give you one example. Let's learn how to calculate the B. For example, I'm charging 20, the demand is 500, and if the price is 15, the demand is 700. How to calculate the B? That, let me write it. If the price is 20 and then 15, on 20 the demand was, I think, 500. When I reduce the prices, now the people are willing to buy more. It's 700. Now, we need this equation to understand, because this equation is going to help us throughout the chapter. This equation is actually going to help us how to determine the price of the product where we can maximize our profit. Now, the formula for the B is that change in price divided by change in quantity demand. You can see that change in price divided by change in quantity demand. Here the change in price is 5, change in quantity demand is 200. Uh, okay, so if I do it here, if I want to find the B, the change in price is 5. This is the change in price. And the change in quantity demand is Very first step in this equation is to calculate the B. This B is going to help you to calculate the A, the maximum price. Now what is B? B is that change in price divided by change in quantity demand. So the B is 0.025. Normally if we do like this, that no doubt maybe the question arises in your mind that I should, if I minus the 20 from 15, then here I should divide 500 from the 700, and this answer should be in the minus. This value should be in minus because the relationship is negative. I do it intentionally because then the actual equation is like this. Price is equal to A plus B and then Q. Now, this B value is actually negative, that's why plus and minus will be converted into the negative. Now if I have already put here in equation negative, that's why I'm ignoring it and I'm not doing it like this. Otherwise it should be like this. On 20 the price was 500 minus 700. It is minus the relationship between, because the B show the slope, that the relationship between the price and quantity demand is minus, negative. But because if you put this value again here, minus, if you replace this with this B, so it will again become A minus 0.025 and Q. So either you put here minus and then put the answer here, the value here, again it will be converted, or either you put it in beginning like this. Why we write demand equation like this? Because it shows that the relationship is minus. Okay? So that's why if you write like this, it's fine. If you put the plus sign, you have to put this value here. So now I'm actually following this equation. So that's why I'm considering B as the 0.025. Okay, so now, and I can write now this one like this is the demand equation, because we are using the demand approach to find out the price. It show that when the price is, you can take any one of this price to calculate the A. On price 20, the demand was 500. And I have the value of the B also, which is 0.025. The question arises to calculate the A. Okay, now if you put value into this equation, you can easily calculate the A. So price is price is 20 is equal to A is unknown minus 0.025 B, and the demand at this time is the 500. So 500 multiply by minus 0.025, sorry, 500 multiply by 0.025 minus this 12.5. So I can say that 20 is equal to A and then minus 12.5. I can find the value of the A. Okay, so I have already solved here. You can done from here also. You can see once I put the value of the A, now I can find the value of A, that is the 32.5. How? is a minus sign. When I shift it here, it will be converted into the plus. So A is equal to 20 plus 12.5 means that it is 32.5. So A is the price 32.5 where the demand will be 0. This is the high price that I can charge. So to learn the purpose of this exercise was that if you want to understand the demand based approach, you need to understand this equation. You'll be having a historical data. From that data, you can first find the slope, and then you can find the A. Or this exercise will help us in the future in this chapter. Now let us make one scenario that if the marketing team after a survey told me that our expected sales are 600 units. Okay. Now we from historical data we know what is my B, what is my A. Okay. Now the previous example, my Q was given, it was I think 500. Yes. If the marketing team tell me that our demand in the market is high, we can sold out the 600 units. And what should be the price into the market? Again, if this information is available, you can simply put the value. A is given 32.5, B is already 0.025, and just put the value 600 into this equation. You will get the value of the price. Okay, you can see the price is 17.5. What does it show? Let me show you in the Excel. If the demand is 600, what is the price? If the demand is 600, what is the price? So put this value into this equation. Okay. You know what is A? A is 32.5, B is 0.025, and Q is given, that is 600. So putting the values into the equation, this one minus P into. So it showed me that if I charge price 17.5, I can sold out 600 units. Because the quantity demand is increasing, the relationship is negative. So you can see that the price is increasing. If I charge this 17.5, I think let's make some mistake. 17.5 price increased. Okay, at the price we solve this question, it shows that the price is 17.5. What does this mean? This means that at price 17.5, the quantity demand will be 600. Okay, you can see that if I charge more 17.5, the demand will go down from 700 to 600. My dear, let's check the second scenario. If some, for example, price is given, now if price is given, what should be the quantity demand? For example, if I'm charging high price in the market, look, when I was charging 1500, the people were willing to buy 700. When I'm charging 20, the people are willing to buy 500. What if I charge 25? From the historical data, I can predict that if I charge 25, what will be the quantity demand? The value of the A which is given, don't have the value of the Q, we have the price 25 also. You can see that the quantity demand is now 300. Why? Because if I'm charging high price, I'm charging more than 20, the people are then willing to buy 300 units only. Okay, so hopefully you can solve it by putting the value. Does this mean? This means that at the price 25, the quantity demand is 300. So if I'm charging high price, the demand is low. If you can see, the previous price was 17.5. People were willing to buy 600 units. Now the last session of this chapter, which I'm going to discuss in the video, is that if I want to charge, okay, it doesn't mean that if I'm selling more products on low price, so this is actually good for me. No, it doesn't mean that this is the profit. Okay, because if I'm charging on low price, I'm selling more units. My total revenue may be compared to total cost not that much high. So the question arises, which is the last session of this class, this video, that is what price should I charge that I can earn the maximum profit. So I'm going to solve one case study in which we can learn that what could be the price where I can earn the maximum profit. So to calculate the optimal price means the price at which I can earn the maximum profit. We actually need to take three steps to maximize the profit. There are three steps. First step is that we establish the relationship between price and quantity demand means that from the historical data we need to calculate the B and then A as we have already solved it. The second step is that where marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. We need to find that particular point where my marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue and then solve to find Q. What do we mean by the marginal cost and marginal revenue? Marginal means additional. Now marginal cost means that additional cost arise because of additional unit. Additional unit produced. If you're producing 2 units, what is the cost of the 2 units? But if you produce the third unit, now what is the additional cost? Okay. Similarly, my dear, what is the meaning of marginal revenue? Marginal revenue means that additional revenue arise because of the additional units sold in the market. For example, let me give you the example. Let's suppose that if I sold out the let's suppose if I sold out 1 unit, and let's suppose it give me the revenue of 50. But when I sold out the 2 units, let's suppose it give me the revenue of the 90. Okay, by selling the second unit. What is the my marginal revenue? My marginal revenue because of the selling one additional unit is 40. 90 minus 40. This is called marginal revenue. Same is the case with the marginal cost. This is the basic concept. Here, my dear, in this equation, by marginal cost, actually we mean the variable cost. Okay? Because when we are selling something additional, the marginal cost actually means that sale price minus variable cost is equal to marginal cost. So the variable, the difference between the sale price and variable cost actually calculate my the marginal additional cost or the additional even revenue. So marginal for marginal revenue in this chapter, how to find out it? We will take the help from the equation. The marginal revenue equation is almost similar to the demand equation. Only one difference you need to learn is that equation of the marginal revenue is the two time. The slope of is the two time. I'm not going in the detail of this that why we write two here, but as a student of the accounting, you need to learn this that by marginal cost we means that variable cost and by marginal revenue it means the equation is A minus 2BQ. It's almost same to the demand equation, multiple. The slope is two times higher than the demand equation. So we need actually second step is that we need to calculate the number of quantity produced by my marginal cost is equal to marginal revenue. And then I can solve the Q. Once we get this quantity, then we need to substitute this quantity into the price equation. This is the price equation. Okay. So let's solve one case study. There is a company which is producing a washing machine. The standard cost for the machine is for material for one machine, the raw material cost is $50, labor cost is $30, and variable overhead is 40. So you can see this is the variable cost of the machine. Output for the month is budgeted to be 5,000 units. You can produce 5,000 units in a month, and monthly fixed overheads are expected to be 100,000. Let me write here. You can put the data first. The material cost is 50, labor cost per unit is 30. In overhead, we have two different costs. Overhead is actually the mix of the variable and fixed cost. So variable overhead is given, it is 40. So this is my total variable cost. The equation it's given. Total variable cost it is 50 plus 40 plus 30, which is 120. So 120 is my variable cost, which I can say my marginal cost also. The rest of the information given in the question is that output for the month budgeted is 5,000 units. Fixed overheads are expected 100,000. So fixed cost is 100,000. Output budgeted output, or I should say the demand is the 5,000 units. Fixed costs are expected to remain at this level if output raises to 7,500 units per month. It means that the range of the fixed cost is from 0 to 7,500 unit. It is the same, 100,000. But if our fixed cost increase more than 7,500, then the fixed cost will also increase. It's just like, for example, if I rent one room for my students, I'm taking a class. For example, the capacity of that classroom is to, for example, 40 students. Now from 0 to 40 students, I have to pay rent for one classroom, which it will be remain same. But if some additional students come, like for example some 5 students more come, 45 students get the admission. Now beyond the 40, I have to now hire another room. So my rent will my fixed cost rent will increase if the students level increase from more than 40. So the range from 0 to 7,500 we have the same fixed cost. The company currently use a full cost plus approach to pricing and add 100% onto the full cost per unit to calculate the selling price. The company desired profit is very high. Desired profit margin is 100%. Means that if the cost is 200, so the profit margin, including the price, if the cost is 200, 100% profit they want to earn, so they have to charge price 400. It's a very high margin. Let's see, it's given. Okay. Now, however, sales volumes and profit have been disappointing. Therefore, the company commissioned some market research to determine the relationship between cost and volume. Okay, they hire consultant to do the market research to determine the relationship between cost and volume. The research showed that the price of 250 per unit sales would be 6,000 units. So they say that if you charge the price 250, the quantity demand is then 6,000 units. It would reduce by 500 per month for each $10 rise in price. If you increase the price by $10, let's suppose if I charge 260, means I increase the price by 10, so it will reduce the quantity demand by the 500 units, means that let's suppose 5,500. In other words, they actually give you the idea about the B. What is the B? B is that in this case that if the change in price is 10, the change in demand will be 500. So this is your B actually. You can find from here also. Okay, you can hear from here also. If you remember in previous example, I do like this, that find the change in price 260 minus 250, and then you can find this is the change in price. You can do by this way also, that change in quantity demand is I can find the B. Formula for the B was change in price divided by change in quantity demand. So it is same. But we don't need to do this calculation. It's already given here in the question. It will reduce by 500. Means that the unit demand will reduce by 500 if they charge more price. What is the requirement? It is almost completed. The requirement is that the first requirement is that use the full cost plus approach to pricing. What is the sell pricing? So what is the profit margin the company want to charge? The company want to charge 100% profit. We need to calculate now the price. Okay, now you can see for the first requirement, first we need to calculate the cost of the product. Like if I mention here the cost of the product, so we have two different kind of the cost given. One is the variable cost for the one unit, that is 120. Material cost is given, labor is given, and fixed cost. If you remember, we already discussed that in fixed cost is actually 100,000. This is for the number of activity, which is 5,000. Okay, it's given that the expected output for 5,000 unit is fixed cost is 100,000. If I want to calculate the fixed cost per unit, within the given information, it will be how much? 100,000 is the total one for 5,000, and for one unit it is 20. So what is my total cost for one product? Variable cost 120 plus the fixed cost 20. So my total cost is 140. Now this is my total cost. What is the profit margin? Profit margin for the for profit margin is given that the company desire to charge 100% of the profit. Now, what will be the price? Even without doing calculation, we can say that the price is 280. Because they were charging 100% of the cost. So 140 multiplied by the 100% is itself 140. Okay, and we need to add the cost also. The cost is 140, so the price is 280. This is the price if you are actually following the cost plus approach. So the requirement number one is first calculate the cost, which is 440, and the desired margin is 100%. So the current sale price is 280. Now either did your target your this price is good into the market or not. This is a different question. Okay. Now you can even find the quantity demand also. In previous example, we do the practice. If you are charging the price 280, you already have the value of the B. You can calculate A, and what will be the demand. Now this is the requirement number two. Let me approach the requirement number two. Requirement number two is that derive the demand function and use that to calculate the monthly profit based on the cost plus approach of pricing. Okay. Now we are going to calculate the if I'm charging 280, how much quantity I can sell into the market and what will be my profit. The formula for the profit is that total revenue minus total cost. How to calculate the total revenue? To calculate the total revenue, we need the number of quantity produced or sold out multiplied by the price of the product. Okay, so we already have the price, which is the 280. We don't know what is the quantity. Similarly, my dear, to calculate the total cost, we need to add up both fixed cost plus variable cost. Now fixed cost is given here, that is 100,000. To calculate the variable cost, to calculate the total variable cost, we again need the units produced multiply by the variable cost per unit. A variable cost per unit is given, it is 20. It's given, it is 20. Again, we don't know the value of the quantity. So by using the demand equation, if we are charging price 280, what should be our quantity demand? In the previous example, I give you the idea of the scenario too. You can revise it even. So now if I'm charging, it's given A minus B and C. From the historical data, from previous data, I solve here. We found out that when you are charging 250, demand is 6,000, and if I'm charging 260, so I calculate actually B. We have already calculated the B, which is 0.02. You can see here. It's already calculated 0.02. Now, my dear, with on the given information, this one we need to calculate the A also. For A, actually, we need Okay, we need the price and quantity demand. From the historical data, if I'm charging price 250, the quantity demand is 6,000. Okay. Now I need to put the value into the equation to calculate the actually A. So accounting the demand equation is, we don't know about the A. P is 250 and quantity is 6,000. B is 0.02. Calculate the A. Put the value into the equation. B is 0.2, 0.02 multiplied by the Q 6,000. So we got 120. Now E minus 120. On the other side we have the price 250. If I put this value, if I shift this value to there, okay, from minus 1 it will be converted into the plus 1. So the final answer is 370. 250 plus this 120, if I shift it here, the answer is 370. So A is 370. A is the price, 370 is the price where there will be no demand. This is the highest price. Okay. Similarly, like if I shift it there, so the answer is 370. Now I have the value of A also 370. Now the question arises, if the company charge a price 280, what will be the quantity demand? Because I need to calculate quantity demand to calculate the total revenue and then variable cost also. Okay, if the price is 280, then one is what is the quantity demand? Again, put the value into this equation. I have the P value, which is 280, and I have the A value, which is 0.02, and I have the B value also. Put this value into this equation, you will get the answer for the Q, which is, let me do it by step here. If the price is 280, is 370, you need to calculate this Q. Okay, for that, the answer for the Q is 4,500. So on 280, if I'm charging 280, the demand will be 4,500. You can see here that if I'm charging 280, the quantity demand is 4,500. When you can see that if I'm charging high price, more than 260, the demand is also decreasing. Even there is another way also, if you want to do it manually. Let's suppose if you want to do it manually, for the meanwhile, I'm putting it here. It's given in the question that if you increase the price by 10, quantity demand will reduce by 500. It's given. If I'm increasing the price by 10, means that 270 plus 10, 280, the quantity demand will again reduce by 500 of the previous one. So this is another way. You can do it manually also, but in the question, we need to learn that how to do this through the equation. When I can predict the next one also, that if I charge more, so if I charge 10 more, let's suppose 290, the demand will go down and it will reach to the 4,000. Of course, it is reducing by 500. Okay, so if I'm charging price 280, now the quantity demand is 4,500. Now I can calculate the profit. For profit, I need the total revenue. The quantity demand is 4,500 and we are charging 280. So total revenue is given. So Let me remove this decimals. 1.26 million is my total revenue. I put here the value. So it is 1.26 million. And then what is my total cost? Fixed cost is given. That is, it was given that if I'm producing from 0 to 7,500 units, so the cost will be 100,000. You can see I'm producing in the range from 0 to 7,500. So the fixed cost remains same, 100,000. To calculate the total variable cost actually depend on the number of units you produce. If I'm producing 4,500 units and variable cost per unit was, if you remember, it was 120. This one. So my variable cost is 5,40,000. My total cost is fixed cost plus variable cost, 6,40,000. So my total cost is 6,40,000. Now I can calculate the total profit. Total revenue minus total cost. This is equal to total revenue minus total cost. This is equal to profit. Okay, so this is actually my requirement number 2. That requirement number 2 was that from the demand function, I should calculate monthly profit, which is based on the cost plus approach. Cost plus approach means the price calculated on the requirement number 1 was 280. Means that what is the profit if I'm charging 280? For that, we need to calculate the first quantity demand. Now, the last one is that the question arises that if I'm charging 280 and the demand is 4,050 while the profit is 6,200, is this the ideal price? Maybe if I reduce the price and sell more product in the market, maybe I can earn more profit while reducing the price. Okay, you can even try here. Let's suppose if I try here with different prices. Suppose I'm trying here. Let me calculate the total revenue. And then fixed cost and then variable cost. By the help of this, I can calculate the total cost. Then I can calculate the profit also. You can do it quickly into the Excel. If the price is 250 and I'm able to sell, demand is 6,000, so my revenue is 1,50,000. Till the 7,500 fixed cost will remain same. So 100,000 is the fixed cost. Variable cost depend on the number of units multiplied by the variable cost, which is 120. So this is my variable cost. If I add fixed plus variable cost, this is my total cost. Now I can calculate the profit. Total revenue minus total cost. This is profit 6,80,000. Now I can find out that if I'm changing the price, the demand is changing. Therefore, let me do it by 1. Okay, the profit is different. You can see that this was the cost plus approach 280. From 280, my profit was 6,20,000. You have already seen here. I calculated it here in Excel. 6,20,000. Let me write it here also. And you can see here also that on different price, my profit is different. You can see that this is the high price, but it doesn't mean that the profit is also high. Even we are earning profit by charging the 6 to 70 because the demand is increasing and I'm decreasing the price, and my profit is also increase. It doesn't mean that profit will increase all the time. If you are reducing the price, it is actually it depends on the proportionate. If I'm reducing the price and the demand is also decreasing, if I'm for example reducing the price, sorry, demand is increasing. Actually, it's about the proportionate, the degree of change between the price and quantity demand. Okay, it doesn't mean that if I'm reducing the price more and more, it will always give me a high profit. Now the question arises that we are supposed to in the third question we are actually calculating that what is the optimal price where I can determine the maximum profit. So this is the question. Okay, now I'm going to find out the maximum profit. How can I earn? If you remember, I told you that there are three steps in calculating the maximizing. There are three steps. Yes, I mentioned somewhere here. Yes, this is actually these are the three steps to calculate the price where you can enjoy the maximum profit. Very first step is that you need to establish the linear relationship, which we have already done. We know that what is A, we know that what is B. And then the second step is that you actually calculate the quantity where my marginal cost should be equal to my marginal revenue. Okay. If my marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, I should produce more and more units. But if my marginal cost is more than the marginal revenue, if what do I mean by this? That if let me write it into the if my marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, means that if I'm producing additional units, for example, its additional revenue is 10, while it's producing the additional unit cost is, let's suppose, 8. What does this mean? It means that each additional unit is giving me additional profit, which is 2. Okay? So if this is the case, the marginal cost is equal greater than marginal revenue. We need to produce more because our profit is increasing, our additional profit is increasing. What if our marginal revenue is less than the marginal cost? If the additional unit give me the revenue of 10, but the additional product cost me 13, so what is my additional profit is in minus. So I'm supposed to not produce more because this is decreasing my profit. So if this is the condition, encourage me to produce more. This is the one condition. Second one is that this is actually a condition where I should stop producing more product. Where should I stop my production? Where my marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. Now this is a position where I should stop further production, and this is the point where I can enjoy the maximum profit. Okay. Now the second step, as I mentioned, is that where marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. So first step is establish the linear equation, which is already established. In this case, now we need to find out the quantity, how much units should I produce where these two are equal. And the third one is that put this Q value into the price equation or the demand equation. Let's come to the question. Requirement number 3. Requirement number three, you can see that I told you that it, marginal cost is mentioned, given it is already one, we know the 20. The marginal revenue, I told you that it is equal to, I can write like this, that marginal revenue is equal to A minus 2B and Q, while marginal cost is equal to 120. I'm going to put this value into this equation. So I can write, instead of the marginal revenue, I can write this one, and marginal cost, I can replace it by 120. So from the demand equation, by using the historical data, we know that what A is equal to, I found out here, I think, in the Excel, my A is equal to 370, is equal to 370 minus 2 by is, we have also calculated B, which is 0.02, 0.02, and Q we don't know. We need to find this one, 120. We need to find this one, 370 minus 2 multiplied by 0.02. Answer is 0.04. Q is equal to 120. Okay, we can shift this 370 here, that minus 0.04 Q is equal to 120 minus, this is plus, when shifting here it will be minus. Now the answer is 120 minus 370, this is I think 250, minus 250. 120 minus 370 is minus 250. We can now find out the Q. Minus is multiply, when we'll shift here it will be divided. So the answer for the Q is 250 divided by 0.04. Sorry, it's not multiply, it says divide. 250 divided by 0.04. The answer is 6,250. Okay, what does this mean? This means that if quantity demand is 6250, we can achieve their marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. This is a quantity whereby marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. Now on this point I can find out the price which can maximize my total profit. So how to find the price? A minus A minus B and Q. Now we need to find the price. Okay. This is the A is 370 minus B is Q. We have found out the B is 0.02. Q, this is that quantity where my marginal cost is equal to my marginal revenue. Okay. Now price is equal to 370 minus, what is the 0.0625 multiplied by 0.02, but in minus, so this is minus 125. Now I can calculate the price, and that is 370 minus 125, 245. So 245 is the price that I can enjoy the maximum profit. Okay, you can see here, this is the quantity Now substitute this quantity into demand function. This is the third step. The price is 245. Now if you want to calculate profit on the 245, it should be high, highest one, the maximum one. I've already calculated here profit on different level. Let me now calculate it onto the 245. If the price is 245, quantity demand is 6,250. 6,250. What will be the total revenue? Price multiplied by quantity demand. Units are still less than 7,500. So again, the fixed cost is same. Okay, you can see that now the variable cost is number of units multiplied by 120. If I'm producing 6250 units, and per unit cost is 120. This is my total cost, and this is my profit. Now you can see that among all these different prices, this one is the highest price, highest profit. Sorry, this profit is the highest one. Even if you do it manually, that let's suppose, as it was given in the question, that if I'm increasing the price by 10, so it will decrease the demand. On other hand, if I decrease the price, increase the price, decrease the price by 10, let's suppose it is 250, let me make it 250 just for the to check it. On 250, demand was 6,000. If I increase the price, so decrease the price from 250 to the 240, it will increase by 500. So it means that the demand will increase by 500, which is I'm reducing the price when the demand is more. Let's check is it workable or not. Let's check it. Let me uncolor it. If the price is 240, then the demand will be 6,500. You can even find out by yourself also by using the equation. You can see at this price, demand is high, but the profit is not more than this. So this is actually that particular price where my demand is the maximum. Okay. Now, hopefully you got the idea. The requirement was only to find out the price. I think it was only to find out the price, which can maximize your profit. But still, you can check it. On this price, it is not the requirement. On the 245, you can check the price. Okay, you can see that on target price, if I'm charging 280, my profit was 6,20,000. If I'm charging 245, my profit is 681. So my profit 245 is greater than the target price. So I should change my price policy. Instead of 280, I should charge 245. Because in 280 the demand was less. If you remember, it was 4,500. My profit was also less. But reducing the price help out me that I can earn the maximum profit. Thank you so much.